Building a house is one of the most stressful things you can go through in your lifetime, but it doesn't have to be that way. In this episode, I'm going to share with you the 15 most overlooked items that quite simply people fail to budget for. This is going to save you a whole lot of time, a whole lot of stress, and most importantly, these items will save you a whole lot of money. My name is Wayne Turner. For nearly 30 years, I've bought, flipped, built, you name it when it comes to real estate, and I share that with you so you can have the confidence knowing that what you learn from me is from actual tried and true decades of experience. So grab a pen and a piece of paper. You're going to want to write these down. Now the first one is called impact fees, and it has a big impact on your budget. You see, an impact fee is when a city, a county, a parish charges you pretty much an upfront tax because you're impacting the community. So when you go to pull a permit, before you can actually scrape dirt, if you will, you have to pay that impact fee. It can be very expensive. It can range anywhere from $2,000 to into tens of thousands of dollars depending on the size of your house. So you always want to take into account impact fees. Number two is windows. Do not go cheap on windows. When you're going to build a house, I promise you, it's a big ticket item. They're expensive to put in, but you will regret going cheap on windows. You need to have a good window because if you don't, I promise you, the seals will break. You've seen the windows that fog. Once those windows start fogging, it can cost you $200 to $300 just to replace a window. Not to mention, you're going to save on your utility bills when you put a better window in a house. The third thing is refrigerators. Refrigerator is an item that most builders will not put in a home. They have to put in a stove. That's like they have to put in heat and have to put in air conditioning, right? And they have to put in a stove, but they do not have to put it in the refrigerator. And those things can run anywhere from $1,800 to $5,000. Now, the reason why they don't put it in the refrigerator is quite simply they don't have to because it's not a requirement from any lender. The lender requires that there has to be heat and air, and there also has to be a stove. For example, with FHA, you got to have a stove in the house. So they won't put in a refrigerator, and that's an overlooked item. The fourth item is quite simply landscaping. You have to consider that if you're going to sod that yard, it can cost you $3,000 to $5,000, and if you're going to do any kind of landscaping. And a lot of people say, well, Wayne, I don't need landscaping. Well, you have to look at the deed restrictions and covenants also when it comes to building any house within a neighborhood, because you want to make sure that if they say you have to have trees and you have to have landscaping, there's no two ways around it. You have to have trees and you have to put in landscaping. Now 5 and 6, they're not all that expensive, but it's easy to overlook, and that's blinds. You gotta have window coverings, right? So a lot of people say, well, I gotta build a house, I'm looking at water heaters and all this other stuff, but you gotta consider blinds. You gotta have window coverings on the property. Even a 1,200 square foot home can run you anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 just to put in basic blinds in the house. The other thing, number 6, is the garage door opener. You have to understand, a lot of builders will not install a garage door opener unless you tell them you need a garage door opener and you budget for a garage door opener. After the fact, you close on your house, a garage door opener is going to cost you $600 or $700 just to have that garage door opener installed. Now number 7, and it too has to do with the garage, is you want to make sure you have the proper insulation. You may want to do an insulated garage door, and you may want to check with a builder and see if they insulate the exterior walls. You see, if it's not a heated and cooled area, they may not be required by the city, the county, or the parish to insulate those walls. It varies per state, per city, per everywhere you are. By insulating the door and insulating those walls, it keeps that garage a lot more comfortable if you're going to do any kind of craft or woodworking, or you just want your car to be warm in the wintertime and you not want it to be so hot in the summertime. Now, back onto insulation, you also want to consider insulating around your utility room. One of the loudest appliances we have in our homes are the washer and dryers. To help with that, you can insulate those doors. You can insulate those walls. Another way to put in insulation is between walls in the kid's bedroom. You see, when you insulate a house and a home is built, the interior walls are not insulated, only the exterior walls. And it only costs you a couple of $100 while they're building the house to have those rooms insulated. Now number 9's on the outside of the house, and this can save you a whole lot of money. Plus, you will absolutely enjoy it, and that's gutters. You not necessarily will enjoy gutters, but it's going to save you a whole lot of money. You want to know that, is the builder going to put in gutters? Are you going to put in gutters if you're building the house? Are you going to roll that in the cost or do it afterwards? Because it can cost you anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 to $8,000 depending on the side of the house. The other one I always tell people is a covered back porch. This is a 1,200 square foot home. Never build a house without a covered back porch. In today's age, people love not just inside the home, but outside the home, and just having a little bit of space to sit out, to listen to the rain, to sip on coffee, to have a glass of wine with friends and family. It's absolutely priceless. Number 11, and this one can cost you a lot of money, and that's a fence. Most people don't budget for a fence, and oftentimes a lot of builders, they don't want to put in a fence. They We'll roll it into the cost if you ask, but not all builders will do that. So whether you're building your house yourself, you've got to budget for that if you have pets and children. And you also have to look at if you're buying a tract built home, you have down payment, you have closing costs. In addition to that, now you're like, oh geez, I forgot I got to put in a fence. It's going to cost me $3,000, $5,000. So a fence is an item that you need to budget for when it comes to building a house. Another item, if you ever think you're going to install an alarm, it's so much more economical. It's quite frankly, it's so much cheaper to have that house pre-wired, so that way they can wire every single window, and doing it before the sheetrock goes up will save you $1,000+ every single time. Now number 13, and it's so much easier to do this while you're building than to wait to after the fact, and that's called floodlights. Whenever you have 4 corners on your house, you'll look at this and see that there's going to be a floodlight. Now, it's not so much the light that it's important, that if you want to install any sort of security cameras, if you go to Best Buy, you can buy them off the shelf, for example, and you can mount that right there by replacing your current floodlight. It's a floodlight, but it's also a camera. It's a motion censored camera. Now, number 14 is electrical receptacles. Most people have flat screens, flat panel TVs these days, and they want to mount them on the wall. It's so much easier and so much less expensive to have the electrician wire that for coax cable as well as electrical receptacles so you can mount your TV. You don't want to wait till after the sheetrock goes up to do that. Now number 15 is electrical receptacles and having plenty of electrical receptacles, but I'm also going to share a couple of wow features I just thought of. I know that's more than 15, but hang in there with me. Electrical receptacles, I always tell people, have the builder install more than one electrical receptacle. That's kind of my pet peeve. They'll put one electrical receptacle on the outside of the house, and you know good and well, come Christmas time, you're probably going to want to add some Christmas lights, and you don't have to run all these extension cords. Simply put another one on this wall, another one on that wall on each side of the door. The same goes for the back of the house. Now, a wow feature I always tell people do is you always want to do solid surface countertops. It is not that expensive to put in solid surface countertops, and you want to stay away from cultured marble, and when you want to look towards items like granite, and you want these not only in your kitchen but also your bathrooms. Another wow feature when you're in that kitchen is to do a single basin under mounted sink. It looks good, it's very clean, and if you've ever had a single basin under mounted sink and use that, I promise you, you will never go back to a double basin sink. Now, a few more features is you always want to do double vanities, not only in the guest bedroom, but you also want to do that in the main bedroom. You also want to look at wow features like having an outdoor fireplace. You can put in an outdoor fireplace for as little as $2,000 to $3,000. You can do that built in around your porch, or you can do it outside around a patio area. You also have to look at, if you ever want to put a pool in the future, you want to really look at the floor plan and think, where can we put a bath? I can't tell you how many homes have been built where you have to trace all through the house in order to get to the bathroom. I've also seen some really cool floor plans where there's a door on the inside of the house to get to the bathroom, and on the back wall of that bathroom is an exterior door. So it makes it easy if people are in a pool, they can hop out, change clothes, and they don't have to track through your house. Listen, I'm Wayne Turner. I hope you liked this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up, comment. Let me know if you've ever built a house. Have you ever had any troubles? Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you want to learn. I'm Wayne Turner, and we thank you for watching. God bless.